the shore of Lake Michigan, the city with the broad shoulders, Chicago, Illinois. Eastern Conference semifinals, Chicago and New York. In the regular season, these two teams went 3-2. The Knicks had the edge. In the playoffs, it's 3-2. Chicago has the edge. At Chicago Stadium, it is SRO. The standing room only crowd was here early in the upper reaches of this ancient building, and they're waiting for probably the biggest playoff game in Chicago since the middle 70s, because this year the Bulls think they can advance to the conference finals, but they've got to beat the Knicks, and the Knicks won the last game. As Jordan goes, so goes Chicago. So all the secrets are over, the surprises are over, and Steve Jones, now it's time for tonight's game. How do you see it?
Well, it's one of those games where you crawl to the edge of your seat and you try to figure out the contrasts in styles. The New York Knicks are a full-court team, and they've found that if they can quicken the pace, they can beat the Chicago Bulls. They cannot play in a 95 to 105-point game with Chicago with the dominance of Jordan. Their emotional leader is Mark Jackson. Jackson is trying to figure out a way to get his team ready to play. He's made a lot of comments. Bill Cartwright doesn't understand why he's being quoted, but his quote is that the Knicks are the better team and the Chicago Bulls have played their best. We'll find out tonight. For Doug Collins and the Chicago Bulls, what they've got to do is emphasize all the positives. We are the team. We have the game. We are at home, and the night lights are out.
And one thing that these teams know, there's good news, bad news. They want to win in advance. Unfortunately for them, their prize will be a chance to play Detroit. Chuck Daly is here tonight, more than a passing interest. You're going to join us some on our telecast. What will you look for between these two teams as you wait for them to advance?
Well, I look for a contest that's going to be very bitter, very physical. Every loose ball, every rebound, the way playoff basketball should be. And it should be a great, great game.
Well, Chuck is going to be joining us. He'll be watching with a monitor and will be on our air with us throughout tonight's telecast. So you stay with us, and we'll be back here at the Chicago Stadium. It's SRO. We'll have the starting lineups and the opening tip-off. But right now, back to Craig Sager in Atlanta.
Thanks, Bob. Now in his 8th year as the coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, Pat Riley owns the highest winning percentage in NBA history, both for the regular season and the playoffs. The Lakers open the Western Conference Finals tomorrow against the Phoenix Suns. Tonight, Pat Riley will be with us live from his home at halftime. Also joining us, Detroit coach Chuck Daly, as you just saw, a spectator tonight in Chicago, waiting for his opponent in the Eastern Conference Finals. That's at halftime. Up next, the Bulls and the Knicks.
Bob Neal and Steve Jones with you from Chicago Stadium. Just moments away from the opening tip-off. Let's have a look at the starting lineups. If you've been following the series here on TBS Sports, you're probably already familiar. Oakley had a very big game the other night. Johnny Newman, the quick forward who scores so well against Chicago. Patrick Ewing, he was the man in Tuesday. Gerald Wilkins and Mark Jackson. Rick Pitino in his second NBA season, the head coach of the New York Knicks. And for the Chicago Bulls, Horace Grant and Scottie Pippen. Grant had foul trouble early in the last game. Bill Cartwright, of course, he's the mentor. Ewing, the pupil. Michael Jordan, you know about that. And Craig Hodges, who is in a nightmarish shooting slump. And the Chicago Bulls are coached by Doug Collins. And the Chicago Bulls hoping to advance for only the third time in their history to the Eastern Conference Finals. And you see the very top reaches in the second oldest arena in the National Basketball Association. This thing was sold out previously, but now the SRO is stretching the fire limit laws. And the officials for tonight's ball game, Ed T. Rush, Jake O'Donnell, and Darryl Garretson, the big guns, are here because they know that this game is going to be one of the most competitive of the playoffs, and of course they're all tough in the playoffs. The opening tip to the New York Knicks, Mark Jackson. The headstrong Mark Jackson. Running the Knicks to Gerald Wilkins. He likewise had a big game on Tuesday night, particularly defensively against Jordan. Wilkins into the paint, gets the basket, and Wilkins opens up. It's 2-0 New York. One of the early keys will be watching Cartwright and Ewing inside. Grant spins away from Oakley, misses the layup, got his own rebound, strong on the offensive boards, and it's tied at 2. Jackson and Wilkins in the backcourt. Ewing, Newman, and Oakley up front for New York. Off the baseline screen. Here comes Newman. Blocked by Jordan. Hodges has Jordan and 2 other Bulls with him. The jumper falls for Michael. Bulls by 2. Jordan had a troublesome night with his jump shot on Tuesday night, even though he got 38 points. Shot less than 50% from the floor. Wilkins over Pippen. Rebound Cartwright.
Jordan with one hand. So, Bob Neal, the story of the ball game, and we've seen it here early, is the pace of the game. Rick Pitino wants a 20-second timeout to talk about it right now.
Well, the noisiest arena in the NBA. I told you Chuck Daly's with us, and Chuck told us right before the game that it's the toughest place from a noise level in the NBA. And we talk about Jordan and his magic hands. This is Jordan and the magic hand.
Well, the thing that you've got to do with Michael Jordan or any other great player is get to him before he gets in the lane area. They don't allow him. They allow him to get in there, and he can make a lot of things happen. And right out of the box, he's shooting the ball very well. He's made both of his field goals. You see his teammates patting him on the head. You know what they say? Tonight is our night. They all sense that this is their game. What the Knicks have got to do, and they haven't been able to do it, is quicken the pace of the game here early. They want them to quick shoot the ball, and at the same time, since they're a quick shooting team, get easier opportunities.
Knicks 1 for 3, and the Bulls are 3 out of 4 early on. 18 seconds on the shot clock for the Knicks. Bulls lead it by 4 on a 6-0 run.
Usually when they call a timeout, they want to find Patrick Ewing. They look inside, and Newman comes back for 3.
Jordan with the rebound, and the Bulls run. Stolen by Oakley. Jordan's former teammate ahead to Wilkins. Cartwright's there. Wilkins with the jam. We told you that Detroit coach Chuck Daly is with us. Chuck, first of all, talk about the building and how important this crowd can be to Chicago.
Well, I think it's probably the toughest building in all the NBA. The noise level's beyond belief. And Chicago, if they get into their running game, which about 70% of the time they want to do, it makes the crowd even more important.
8 on the shot clock. Cartwright has it stripped away by Oakley. And here's Jackson. Hodges to Pippen. Pulls up for the jumper. Cartwright rebound. And he loses it to Mark Jackson. It's tied at 6. So the Rick Pitino 20-second timeout proved to be fruitful.
I know he wanted to make sure that his team understood that they wanted to get some good shots in a half-court situation. They've been able to come out and get a couple of quick transition opportunities. Jackson makes a play on the ball, picks up the foul.
First personal for Mark Jackson.
Tim, the game is pretty ragged at this point, simply because of the pressure, probably. And it looks like the officials are going to let him play early. Oh, boy. In the other game, both those would have been fouls on one or the other.
Scottie Pippen inbounds for Chicago. It's tied at 6. 9:14 to go in the first quarter. Bob Neal along with Steve Jones and Detroit head coach Chuck Daly from Chicago Stadium. Pippen at the point now as Hodges tries the baseline screen. Finally breaks free, but not for much air. With 7 on the shot clock. Cartwright blows past Ewing on the baseline. Bill Cartwright.
Significant, the fact he could take Ewing off the dribble.
Bulls by 2. Cartwright with the steal and the save to Jordan. Hodges penetrates off the glass. Craig Hodges in a shooting slump will shoot higher percentages on the layups. Bulls by 4.
Well, Hodges' mentality really is that of a perimeter player. He rarely gets layup opportunities, but very aggressively taking it to the hoop. The Knicks have got to get Ewing involved in the game to neutralize what Cartwright will do tonight. He misses his second chance.
That's absolutely could get him out there shooting. He didn't want to take the shot.
Little outside the range, which Ewing is comfortable. Bulls by 4, 8 minutes to go first quarter. The Knicks front court only 1 for 4 on field goals.
If in a game like this you can control your emotions and play your normal game, it's helpful, but it's very difficult.
Hodges will inbound with 7 on the shot.
Sorry.
Jordan from the perimeter hits the jumper.
Chicago's making every shot.
It's 12-8. Gerald Wilkins with 6 points early.
Gerald Wilkins releases every time.
Here's the half-court trap, and this is one of the things they'll do to get Chicago to shoot the ball quickly so they can get into their running game. They can't control them in a full-court situation, but they have a better chance of getting that quick shot out of a half-court trap.
Now Oakley against Grant. Takes it in, misses the layup. Out of bounds, Knicks ball.
In game number 5, Oakley was big because he got a chance to score and pound the offensive glass. They'll try to get him involved, and if he can really work against Horace Grant and get him in some jeopardy down there low, then they have a chance to take another key player out of the game.
The Bulls by 4, 7:15 to go first quarter. Wilkins in the paint, and Gerald Wilkins is hot early. He has 8 points. Hodges for 3. Continues his three-point shooting slump. Pippen comes for the double team.
Big pass from Mark Jackson, and they tie the ball game up, and Newman gets his first 2.
Only Pippen has not scored for Chicago. Wilkins, Ewing, and Newman are the people who have put the points on the board for New York with 6:33 to go in the first quarter.
If the Bulls score 120 points or more and win the game, present your ticket.
Bob Neal back with you, along with Steve Jones and Chuck Daly at Chicago Stadium, and Bill Cartwright has been able to go to the hoop early on Patrick Ewing, something we talked about at the beginning of the game.
Now, Cartwright has the ability to put the ball on the floor, and right here he blows by Patrick Ewing and exposes Ewing out on the floor, and that's something that Chicago's going to look to do more tonight.
And Chuck Wilkins has played very well early on. He has 8 points.
Well, the Knicks do a good job of finding the open man. Gerald Wilkins moves right into that seam and gets a good opportunity, and he's out of the blocks very quickly to try to neutralize what Michael Jordan may do in the ball game.
Yes.
Chuck Wilkins can be a problem in that situation. He guards Jordan, but also somebody's got to take care of Wilkins' offense.
Gerald Wilkins on the right side of the floor going from right to left is a real problem, particularly coming off screens because he gets in the lane so well.
5 on the shot clock for the Bulls. It's tied at 12. Hodges from the perimeter hits one from 3.
Notice the adjustment that they made for Ewing. They sent someone back, and that allowed the perimeter opportunity for Hodges. He's got 5 in the period.
Hodges had combined for only 7 points in the last 2 games. He has 4 early here. Ewing is fouled.
Well, the people here at Chicago Stadium, they want Ewing over the top, but Ewing got to the ball first. Cartwright momentum forced him to fall into him, and they pick up the personal foul.
And of course, the personal foul story between Ewing and Cartwright is going to be a major situation in this game tonight, is who gets into foul trouble most. And Ewing gets Cartwright into foul trouble early. Not foul trouble, but his first one. Ewing has no fouls. 3-second violation. It'll be Bulls ball. Chicago by 3. 5:50 to go first quarter.
Now both teams doing a good job of shooting the ball here early in the ball game. So if you talked about nervousness, it's not apparent in their shooting.
Jordan into the paint.
Definitely not apparent in that kind of a shot.
8 points for Jordan. Wilkins also with 8.
Now Ewing wants the ball right now, and they're not giving it to him when he has that good post-up position. Newman misses the drive.
He drove on Michael Jordan. Jordan got back quickly enough to force him to change his shot. It's out of bounds off Chicago. New 24-second clock.
Bob, the key in low post play is getting the ball to the player when he's ready to handle it. They haven't done that for Ewing. Newman misses for 3.
Knicks had set up that screen for Newman, and he throws up an air ball. Hodges. That's 2 triples in a row for Hodges, who seems to be breaking out of his perimeter slump.
I thought you said he was in a slump. He told me before the game he never shot it better.
Bob Neal, Steve Jones, and Chuck Daly with you from Chicago. Chuck, Chicago's opened up an 8-0 lead here since it was an 8-0 run since it was tied at 12. How do you view what's happened?
Well, I think New York's shot selection, a couple air balls, and in transition, Hodges is nailing those threes, which he's so capable of doing, and that's what's got him the lead.
Chicago by 8, 4:55 to go first quarter.
Again, Ewing wants the ball, and see when he gets across there, they're not giving it to him, and that really frustrates him. Jackson on the drive. Good pass for Newman.
And Newman has 4 points early for New York. And now the full court pressure to Hodges. Inside to Cartwright, who started to pass it and then realized he was matched up against a guard and laid it in off the glass. And Bill Cartwright has 4 points and 1 personal foul. Ewing has 2 points.
You want to quicken the pace, but you don't want to give them layups, and that's what happened. See if Ewing gets a chance to shoot it.
Yeah, Ewing with the double team looking for the pass. Does to Wilkins, who has 10 now.
Well, Wilkins is doing a great job here early, moving without the basketball, and they are finding him. He's getting some scores, and they're staying in the ball game.
22-16 Chicago, 3:58 to go first quarter. Hodges goes for 3. Rebound Ewing to Jackson. He's bumped by Jordan before he put the shot up.
Foul is on Michael Jordan. That's his
first personal foul against Jordan.
The Bulls have made a concerted effort to have at least 2 or 3 people back in any transition opportunity. That time they had 3 of them back, but they didn't stop the ball early enough. Jackson continued on with the penetration to draw the foul.
First free throw of this ball game. A 14-14 night on Tuesday for Mark Jackson. I thought he had an excellent ball game in New York.
Jackson, to me, has always played better in the bigger moments. He seems to relish the challenge of playing in a big game, and there could be none bigger tonight, so I'm expecting a big effort from him tonight.
You saw Rick Pitino talking to Kiki Vandeweghe, what a lot of people in New York call the missing piece of the puzzle for the Knicks, who came to New York in the draft choice trade in mid-season. Vandeweghe the quick forward, but Johnny Newman has been playing so well. Vandeweghe hasn't had a heck of a lot of playing time. He's also suffering with a chest cold, Kiki Vandeweghe. Bad pass from Jordan, easily into the arms of Patrick Ewing. That's 3 Jordan turnovers.
All kinds of people came to Ewing that time, but he got a chance to work against the smaller Horace Grant. Got it away with ease.
Ewing with 4 points early. 22-20. The Bulls had led it by 8. It's been 6 straight New York points. Jordan, uncontested jumper, doesn't go down. But look at Grant's offensive rebound. He missed the layup. Jackson knifing past Jordan. Got a double dribble. It'll be turnover, Chicago ball.
Jackson had an advantage, realized it, but turned that ball over as he tried to blow by Jordan. But that is something that he will try to do in an open court. You see the turnover. They really haven't played a significant part in either team being able to establish control so far.
Chicago by 2. Now Cartwright draws the double team. Pass to Grant into Pippen. Shot clock down to 6 seconds. Pippen for 3. Well, Chuck Daly, as you looked at that offensive set, not exactly what the coach would have drawn up.
Jackson working off the low post. Got Wilkins out, getting the ball in the lane.
Jackson draws the foul. By the way, this place is just a din of noise tonight as Kiki Vandeweghe gets set to check in along with Dave Corzine. Corzine for Chicago, and Kiki Vandeweghe comes in for New York.
Kiki Vandeweghe checks in for the Knicks. Dave Corzine for Bill Cartwright.
Cartwright picks up his 2nd personal foul, and of course that's going to be an item anytime he goes down, because they really don't have anyone to keep Ewing off the box at that point. And Corzine is not a shot blocker. Oh, you know, they got to get him some new shoes. His aren't all black. That's a big problem for him. That's why he's having so much trouble. I just figured it out.
The Bulls in these all-black shoes, it was Brad Seller's idea, said they were much more aggressive and would lead the Bulls to play tougher as they went in the playoffs. And you're right, Corzine just has his trimmed in black. Maybe he's going to play a passive game tonight. Bulls by 3 with 2:19 to go in the first quarter. Eight on the shot clock for Chicago. Jordan has 4 on the shot clock.
In the quarter.
He's fouled before he put the shot up. Did he dribble it again?
They get it on the side. Wilkins, as soon as he saw Jordan with the ball, called Kiki's name, meaning that they wanted to try to double him very quickly to force him to give the ball up. They weren't able to do so.
Basket did not count. Chicago inbound. Team fouls. Bulls have 3. Knicks have committed 4 with 1:51 to go in the first quarter. Jordan inside to Grant, who hands it to Pippen for the jam, and Pippen has 5 points. Now Vandeweghe working the baseline, trying to get open.
Of all of the people out there now, Vandeweghe will have the most difficult time getting the ball, trying to get open against the defense of Pippen steal.
Jordan brings them to their feet in Chicago. Bulls by 7, minute 17 to go in the quarter, but the Knicks answer with the triple.
Vandeweghe. That's where he likes to get the ball. He wants to get the ball out on the wing and have a chance to look at the basket and either shoot it or take it on the drive.
1 minute to go, first quarter. Strickland for the Knicks, Paxson for the Bulls set to check in here if they get an opportunity. Jordan misses, Ewing rebound. Jackson for 3.
Three-point field goal, Mark Jackson.
2 triples in a row, and it's a 1-point game with 45 seconds to go in the quarter. Vandeweghe and then Jackson. It's been 3-point night. 1, 2, 3, 4 3-pointers in this game.
And the difference in this ball game versus any of the others, both teams are shooting the ball well right now.
Pippen with his second triple. The block by Pippen. Jackson can't hold it. It's going to be Knicks ball with 24 seconds in the period and 17 seconds on the shot clock. And official Daryl Gerritsen hit the floor real hard on the transition right in front of our television booth and may very well have hit his head on the table. Mark Feil from the Chicago Bulls, the trainer, overlooking at Daryl Gerritsen. I think we have a view of what did happen in the middle of the transition game.
You see right here, they're making the transition, and as officials have to do, they have to turn, and he just goes head over heels and gets tied up underneath the table. You get one more opportunity to find out this is a tough game for the officials as he's trying to avoid the cameraman and goes down. Hopefully he's okay, didn't take it too tough a fall.
So Daryl Gerritsen goes over to the bench and looks to be all right. A little sip of some refreshing liquid there with 24 seconds to go in the first quarter. The Bulls lead it by 4. Bulls were up 29-22, and the Knicks came right back down with some 3-pointers. Then Pippen gets a 3-pointer. This has been a shootout, and we've seen earlier in this series, Steve, that shootouts generally tend to favor the Knicks.
Oh, the Knicks want a high-scoring game. They want each period to be plus 30 if they can possibly get it. The Bulls do not want that, but both teams are shooting the ball well. Where's your towel? You can wipe your hands off because they are sweaty tonight.
32-28 Chicago with just 24 seconds on the game clock, and the Knicks will have 17 seconds on their shot clock after they inbound the ball.
Sid Green is in the ball game as well as Charles Davis. Corzine goes out along with Horace Grant. They don't want to get any quick fouls. We don't know who's on the press now. Corzine, he's coming back in.
Ewing sitting down. Trent Tucker's in the ball game. Tucker's going to inbound. Kenny Walker checked in for New York. Out to Action Jackson. With 10 on the shot clock for the Knicks.
Jackson was able to exploit this anytime he wanted in game number 5. And he feels that he can take Jim Paxson and get himself an opportunity. And he's right in the middle of the floor and just decides to go one-on-one Paxson tries to get to the ball, picks up the foul. They'll have a chance for a three-point play. You look at the scoreboard, 15 seconds to go, and the Knicks have to light the pace of the game, even though they may be down by 1 or 2 when the period concludes.
The guards for New York have combined for 19 points in this first quarter, and the guards for Chicago have combined for 18 points. Jackson is 2 of 2 from the field and 4 out of 4 from the line. Now make it 5 out of 5. The three-point conversion, he's in double figures. You see the time remaining in the first quarter of play as the New York pressure
this is
out of bounds.
This is a pressable group. This group does not feel nearly as confident about handling the pressure, and what New York is trying to do is get a quick steal here and maybe get a hoop to get a little momentum going into the second period.
With 5 seconds, it's the Knicks ball. The first time when Chicago tried to inbound, you saw one player pass to another one before the ball was inbounded on the baseline. Of course, that is legal and a ploy a lot of teams use to beat the pressure. But the second time, after it was tipped out by the Knicks, the 5-second wound down, and it's New York ball. So the pressure causes a big turnover here with the Knicks down by 1. And now Tucker went in and out, and so that'll be a turnover, and it'll be Chicago ball with 12 seconds to go in the quarter.
Collins is telling one of his people, you got to go back and get the ball. Pippen finally does, so they'll get a chance to end the period.
Pippen has it punched away by Newman, and now Trent Tucker. And then Sam Vincent steals it. What a closing to this period. That won't count. It went in, but it does not count. At the end of a wild and woolly first quarter in Chicago, Bulls by 1. This is Bob Neal and Steve Jones, along with Detroit head coach Chuck Daly in Chicago for the Eastern Conference Semifinals Game 6. Chicago leading at 3-2 and leading after the end of 1 by 1 point. Let's have a look at the Minute Maid Orange soft drink statistics after one.
Well, you only have to look at one column to know what kind of game it is, and that's field goal percentage. In the other ball games, one team has been down dramatically while the other team has been high. The Bulls are better than 60, but the Knicks are very close to it. Otherwise, we have a very even contest in all other categories, and the score reflects it.
Chuck Daly, who's watching this ball game along with us at a monitor just away from us. Now that we have some bench power on the floor for these two teams, what's your analysis of that, the benches versus the benches?
Well, the New York Knicks use this unit primarily as a pressing unit when Ewing is out of the game, but I think that may work the advantage of Michael Jordan and the Bulls, although they're not pressing at this point.
Knicks have Green, Strickland, Skywalker, Vandeweghe, and Trent Tucker on the floor. Brad Sellers will be in for Chicago in a moment. This is Charles Davis handling the ball, looking for Paxson off the baseline screen.
Now they've got Corzine against Kiki Vandeweghe. You know he's a turnaround jump shooter, but he goes for the hook.
The shot clock had run down to 4 seconds. Corzine's hook doesn't fall, and the Knicks have a chance to take the lead. They had trailed by as many as 8 points. Tucker wide open over Jordan. Jordan got there a little late, and Trent Tucker hit it from downtown. Two-pointer just inside the line.
Tucker's one of the great streak shooters in the league, and when he's on, he really helps them play as they go for full court pressure.
Corzine pops it across. Normally they get that ball to Jordan. This time he put it back in the hands of Corzine, who'll try one from 17. Rims it out. Green with a rebound, New York. Knicks have the lead, 33-32. Chuck Daly, is this looking like a Knicks kind of tempo to you?
Yeah, it is, but I think in the playoffs a lot of times you get a very high-scoring first quarter, even the second quarter, then it bogs down and the game ends up in the 90s, low hundreds.
Paxson into the paint. The bounce pass down to Davis goes off his foot. It'll be Knicks ball. They lead it by 3, and another Chicago turnover.
In that kind of a ball game, the Chicago Bulls prevail. They were able to do it against Cleveland because of the presence of Jordan. And any of the ball games in this series where it's been low, Jordan has dominated the latter stages. So the Knicks have got to continue to try to shoot the ball well and try to quicken the pace of the game. Strickland playing here in his hometown. He played at DePaul here at Chicago. Corzine also from DePaul with a rebound. Paxson looked to me like he had Grant open, but he didn't go to him. Jordan is fouled on the pass attempt by Ron Strickland, the rookie from DePaul. And Patrick Ewing's coming back into the game for the Knicks.
Chuck Daly in that game Tuesday in New York when Cartwright fouled out toward the end. Ewing kind of had his way offensively with Corzine.
That's a big, important matchup, and I figured the one guy who might get in foul trouble, the other team would have a distinct advantage. If they will now go to Ewing right now, they can make some hay.
We're looking for him right here as Ewing is posted low, but Tucker goes for the triple and hits it. So New York's bomb squad is active at Chicago Stadium. It's 38-32, Knicks up by 6, and Doug Collins gets a Chicago timeout with 9:52 to go in the first half.
The New York Knicks have built themselves a 6-point advantage, and they've done it on the strength of their ability to shoot the ball from the perimeter. In the first 5 ball games, they struggled from the perimeter, but tonight they're on fire. Trent Tucker, he hits a 3-pointer. He's got 5 in the period.
Rick Pitino, the head coach of the New York Knicks, and Doug Collins of Chicago has a big decision to make here, Chuck Daly. Cartwright on the bench with 2 fouls. When does he bring him back in?
Well, that's going to be the toughest part of his night, making those kind of decisions, because I don't think Corzine can handle Ewing, although right now they're not going to Ewing, so it's not as much of a factor.
Jordan gets it to Paxson off the screen, and the Knicks lead it by 4. So the Knicks have 3 3-pointers. Chicago has 4 3-pointers in this early going. That was Paxson who got the steal. Pippen back to Paxson on the drive. Past Vandeweghe. Chicago to within 2.
Paxson is a guy that can score the ball, and when he gets aggressive, that takes a lot of pressure off of what they do with Michael Jordan. He's got back-to-back hoops.
Shot clock down to 10 seconds now for the Knicks with Strickland at the point.
In this situation, they're going to go to Ewing. Corzine knocked the ball away. They want to get that ball to Ewing as soon as he pops across, and that's when they're late in getting him the ball, and that's when he loses position. They got 5 to get it up and down.
Sellers, Corzine, and Grant up front for Chicago with Jordan and Paxson in the backcourt, and the Knicks have 5 seconds. Go directly to Ewing, kicks it to Tucker for a 3-pointer.
3-point field goal.
That's the 4th Knicks 3-pointer, and the 2nd one for Tucker.
Nothing changes the complexion of a game like a made basket. And now the Bulls are going to have to come back and score themselves. Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
And Michael Jordan with his first points of this quarter. He has 12 in the game to lead all scorers.
Tucker feels it.
And he got it again. That was a 2-pointer. And now Tucker off the bench has 10 points, including his 2 3-pointers. Michael Jordan draws the double team, dribbles out of it, and the Bulls reverse it, and they find Sellers all alone in the corner.
Sellers likes to play from the perimeter, and when he gets going offensively, his whole game picks up. We'll see if he can make some defensive plays and get some rebounds now.
Call away from the foul, and Chuck Daly, here comes Bill Cartwright back into the ballgame. What do we expect to see in the flow with this change?
Well, I think you've got to go right at him, try to pick up the 3rd foul, except for the fact that Tucker is so hot and running Jordan off screens. I think you have to work Jordan all night on the offensive end.
Cartwright trying to force Ewing off the block. Ewing on that baseline jumper, and he was within his range. He'll hit those when he's about 8 feet away very consistently.
You see, now you know why Daly's a genius. You go right at him, right at him.
It's great to have the head coach of the Detroit Pistons with us here tonight in Chicago, scouting both these teams as the Pistons await to play one of them. Cartwright fouled by Green. Sidney Green picks up his first personal. 7:34 to go in the first half.
That's a great pass from Jordan to Cartwright. Cartwright's been at the basket all night long and been in the area to do something. You see Green is very emotional as he makes his play to get back to keep Cartwright from getting the dunk. But anytime they can get Cartwright right at the basket, he's going to be very effective. That's going to get them in a penalty. Now, Cartwright, through his career, has been one of those centers that's gotten a lot of free throws and made a lot of free throws. And if he can stay in the game, he certainly can hurt them in that area.
Cartwright's free throw percentage not exceptionally high during the playoffs this year. It's 1 out of 2 this time, and those were the first Chicago free throws of this ball game with 7:33 to go in the first half, and the Knicks up by 4. Paxson on Jackson. Now Jordan is on Trent Tucker. Shot clock to 10 for the Knicks. Jackson kicks it out to Ewing. Jackson kept it alive for Patrick.
Vandeweghe is wide open in the corner. Jackson for 3.
3-point field goal, Mark
The
Jackson.
bomb squad. Mark Jackson with his second three-pointer, and it's a 7-point Knicks lead. 7 minutes to go in the second quarter.
Well, the Knicks are on the boil, and you got to hope that they cool off, but in the same time, you got to come back and score. And of course, anytime they get the ball to Jordan, they got a great chance to make something happen.
With 6 on the clock, Jordan has to kick it out here to Paxson. Just inside three-point line. Paxson misses. Intercepts the pass. Nicely done as Sidney Green went down. Looks like he injured his leg. He's slow to get up in the backcourt. Sellers open from 15.
He's still in the backcourt. That rebound, he'd have been quick to get well. There he is.
Ewing caused that play to happen. And Sidney Green did get well, and now they're mixing it up down inside. Veteran official crew here tonight step inside to stop any blows from being thrown so far. The coaches are out there. Chuck Daly, you've got a team that leads the league in fines. Tell us about the emotional intensity that's going on in a situation right here.
Well, certainly when the guy's going to the basket for a free basket or an easy shot, you're going to get hard fouls in playoff basketball. Atlanta and Milwaukee, I saw some of the hardest fouls that you can give, and I don't think there's anything to get upset about. It's part of the game.
Technical foul called against Brad Sellers.
I think it is important to note that the commissioner has been very tough and made very strong statements about anyone who takes a swing, and we have warned our players very carefully about taking a swing in these kind of situations.
And you saw that there, the officials jumped in very quickly, and no blows were thrown. Vandeweghe misses the technical.
Well, you see the action, and it's a hard foul by Green. Green comes back, but I don't know where Sellers got it, and he wasn't even in on the play, and suddenly Green has a lot to say to Sellers. Sellers picked up the technical foul, but it was Paxson that delivered the first foul.
And now Green will go to the line for the free throws. Chuck, Brad Sellers not exactly known around the league as a tough guy.
No, I was surprised. I don't know what Sid was thinking about, because Paxson, the guy, gave him the hard foul, which was a good foul.
So Sellers gets the technical, and Green misses the first of his 2 free throws. Vandeweghe missed the technical, and that gets the Chicago crowd to cause this incredible noise. That'll turn the decibels down. Just play some string music.
You hear how loud that crowd can get, and if Chicago can get on a run here, they're down by 8. That certainly is going to be a big factor in helping them win the game tonight.
Cartwright over Sidney Green from Michael Jordan. 6 minutes to go, second quarter. Knicks lead it by 6. Bob Neal and Steve Jones with you in Chicago, along with Detroit head coach Chuck Daly. Knicks facing elimination. If they lose here tonight, the Bulls would advance to play the Detroit Pistons. Vandeweghe on the drive. The block, was that Jordan? And now Green. It's blocked by Grant. Ewing is fouled as he tries to shovel it in from beneath the backboard. It's on Grant, his first personal.
Steve, there's some major league contact in this.
That is the 3rd team foul.
Well, Jordan is everywhere, and he is trying to make sure that he can do everything to help his team win. He comes across with a major league block. He's back in there trying to make another play on the ball, but Ewing is there. One of the things that all that perimeter shooting has done for the New York Knicks is spread the defense of the Chicago Bulls, and that allows some penetration for guys like Vandeweghe and Johnny Newman off the dribble.
You see that Ewing with a 7-to-1 rebounding edge.
You know, you can't get rebounds on the bench. And Cartwright's been sitting down.
With 2 personal fouls early in this game, Doug Collins got Cartwright out to the bench. He's back in there now. Here comes the noise. The Knicks are 2 for 5 from the free throw line this quarter. Now Jordan wants to go to Cartwright down there against Ewing. Into the paint goes Cartwright. He's fouled by Ewing. Chuck, you told us before the ball game that you liked the way Cartwright took the ball to the hoop against Ewing. And here's a look at how he's doing that.
Yeah, Cartwright's very good at facing and taking people off the dribble. And Ewing is a little bit susceptible at times to someone with that size who can get to the hoop. In this case, he made body contact, committed the foul.
Ewing's first, Cartwright has 2.
That is the way that Ewing would rather see Cartwright playing. As you heard Chuck say, turn and face. That really creates a nightmare for Ewing because he doesn't know which way he's going to go. And Cartwright, with that ability, with that one quick dribble, can get into the basket area.
And Cartwright with not much success at the line either, and even though he's been there a couple of times here tonight. He gets that one to fall, and the Knicks lead this by 6 with 5:30 to go in the first half. Jackson clears the side.
When you look at these games, you look at control, and the Knicks have controlled the game with their shooting. They get a turnover there on Mark Jackson, and now they're going to come back and try for pressure.
All right, Hodges will inbound from the sideline to Grant to Jordan. Looking for Cartwright again. The fadeaway. Cartwright going to work against Ewing. Cartwright in double figures. He's got 10, and Chicago's within 4.
Now, what New York has got to recognize is Cartwright is hurting them. They got to come back with some inside running. Wilkins scores, or they got to get Patrick Ewing the ball.
Chuck Daly, that was a sweet pick set by Ewing down on the baseline for Wilkins.
Well, Wilkins is so good coming right to left like that into the lane. Probably as good as anyone in the league.
Cartwright. Now the double, and they find the open man. Pippen will go to the free throw line. Doug Collins already sweating through his shirt over there. Coming up at halftime, the Prudential Halftime Report, Craig Sager will be talking to a man that Chuck Daly hopes to be facing in the finals again, Pat Riley, the coach of the world champion Los Angeles Lakers. He'll be at home. Chuck, perhaps you and Pat could chat with each other a bit.
Yeah, I would like to do that. You know, it's interesting that now they've decided to double Cartwright, which is allowing the cross-court pass and the penetration. And I think that could get Chicago back in the game.
How do you rate Cartwright as a passer off the double team?
He's not a strong passer, but tonight he's so alive that he's making a good cross-court angle pass.
Knicks by 4, 4:23 to go in the quarter.
Ewing wants the ball. See, they don't get it to him when he's open, and that allows Cartwright to be a better defender.
Jackson with the penetration.
Jackson.
Vandeweghe was in the game very briefly on the bench now. Mark Jackson has 15 points in this ball game to lead all scorers.
Jordan recognized they got a problem. See, and the way that they help Ewing out is with that double team.
7 on the shot clock for Chicago. Hodges puts up a prayer three-pointer. Jackson against Pippen. Bad pass. And Craig Hodges intercepts in the passing lane. 11 New York turnovers. Jordan for 3. Michael Jordan now with 15 points. He has 5 in this quarter with 3:32 remaining.
Now, this is just an old-fashioned shootout, and you've just got to continue to make baskets and hope that the other team breaks down. Jackson.
Loose ball foul. It's going to be against Chicago. Looked like Pippen was the man going over the back. It'll be Scottie Pippen's first.
His first, 4th team foul.
There have been 10 three-pointers in this game. 5 for Chicago, 5 for New York.
Well, Collins is headed for his favorite color of shirt, two-tone blue. He's working up pretty good already.
He doesn't sweat or perspire. He glows, he pointed out to me. Newman lowers the head and tries to drive. Pippen, and he'll get the continuation. That brought Doug Collins a few more rivulets of sweat.
With the perimeter play being so strong, that gives players like Newman and Wilkins a chance to try to penetrate. That's a tough shot. You want him taking those kinds of shots. The percentage is going to go down. This one goes in. He has a chance for a three-point play.
Chuck Daly, how did Johnny Newman get through the waiver wires? He's a free agent find for this team.
Well, you begin to wonder, except for the fact that he came with a perfect team. He's a great three-point shooter, and he really could get to the basket.
Now Oakley picks up a loose ball foul. Will go down to the other end.
So you get a score. We got a penalty situation against both teams. They'll come back with Cartwright on the line. Oakley goes out with the second personal foul.
Brad Sellers back for Scottie Pippen. Bill Cartwright to shoot two.
Do we sense a momentum change here? The Bulls had led by as many as 8. The Knicks got out in front now, and it slowed down into walking from one end to the other in the last couple of minutes. Chuck Daly, what's your feeling there?
Well, I think Chicago went more from an open court game into a post-up game, which was reasonably successful. But on the misses, it did allow New York to get out and run. And right now, there seems to be matchup problems for Chicago.
Cartwright had wanted to go to the line to shoot the free throws on the loose ball, but the official stopped it and said no, Horace Grant will go there.
Well, you find out why Doug Collins likes Grant so much. He really does attack the basket. He's a very quick, explosive leaper, and he's kept the ball alive. Gets both of these free throws.
3:05 to go in the first half. The Knicks lead this one by 4. The Knicks have not won in Chicago since '87.
Now, you know, with those streaks, the longer you have it going against you, the better your chances.
Wilkins alone from 18. Cartwright with a big rebound. That's only his second rebound of this game.
With the team shooting plus 60%, there are not a lot of rebounds available. New York has been shooting lights out tonight.
Greg Hodges bounces it in here to Grant. Back to Hodges. Over Jackson. Jordan came in to keep that alive, but Newman comes away with it. Knicks by 4.
Now they want to get Ewing the ball on this side. Now Jackson's picked up the dribble, so that's going to allow the defense to be more effective. 7 on the shot clock.
Ewing shoots it over Cartwright from way out of his range, but Sidney Green comes up with it, and only a Horace Grant deflection kept the Knicks from getting an easy basket. It'll be Knicks ball with 22 on their shot clock when we return, and 2:03 remaining in the first half. The battle of the North and the South in the Civil War was nothing compared to the Cubs and the White Sox. Last night, Comiskey's Park, the White Sox beat the Cubs in the crosstown rivalry. 2 of their pro teams against each other. But the main focus in Chicago, the Bulls and the Knicks. We're back here with 22 seconds on the shot clock for the Knicks as they inbound. 2 minutes to go in the quarter. The Knicks leading it by 4.
2 minutes left in the half.
Tucker takes on Sellers, much faster, drives to the hoop. Ewing with the rebound.
That's a big rebound for Ewing. He was off balance, managed to keep control and get it back up and down. But again, it's the penetration that made it happen. Wilkins against Brad Sellers.
Knicks by 6. 8 rebounds for Ewing. Jordan from the perimeter. Chuck Daly, what are your thoughts about Jordan in the first half? He doesn't seem to be quite as explosive as maybe in some earlier games.
Well, he came out early and then he kind of settled for a passing role, maybe coasting, conserving energy. But I think for them to get back in the game, they're going to have to get him the ball from off the ball.
Newman is fouled by Sellers as he drives to the lane.
Now you see again the effect of the three-point ability of the New York Knicks. Newman teased Brad Sellers from three-point line. He came up close enough. He was able to put it on the floor, pick up the personal foul. He'll go back to the line. So that good perimeter shooting has opened up some chances for some people on the outside.
Steve, in 2 of our losses this year to New York, they hit 9 threes, and believe me, it is a major league problem when you're trying to defend Ewing in the low post and that three-point line.
Chuck, your team struggled with New York this year, but dominated Chicago. So does that mean by statistical numbers that you prefer to play Chicago?
We want to quit right now while we're ahead.
I'll keep working on to get a commitment out of you before the game's over. Hodges to Sellers to Cartwright in the corner.
As long as they've been able to keep the ball out of Jordan Can in the pressure situation, they've been able to control him. Shot clock's at 5.
And Cartwright from 8 feet.
Bill Cartwright.
Cartwright showing the poise of a veteran. He didn't do anything rash that time. He just kind of let the game come to him, and he got 2 points out of it. Knicks by 4.
Again, they leave that side open for Newman, and that's going to allow somebody to get open.
They get it inside to you, and Cartwright almost stole it. Nice defense by Cartwright. 6 on the shot clock. Horace Grad and Cartwright with good post defense. Sellers from the corner from Hodges. The Knicks lead it by 2 with 27 to go in the first half. A turnover. Doug Collins tells Hodges, whoa, 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 the Knicks got careless. Chicago can tie. There's a 1-second differential in the shot clock and the game clock. The Bulls will have to shoot it with 1 second left.
In this situation, you like to run somebody at Jordan and make him give the ball up.
Cartwright penetrates, doesn't get the roll at the buzzer. So the Knicks have the lead by 2. It's been a spectacular show here in Chicago. Bulls were on a 6-2 run in the last minute 45 seconds, but they missed the layup and don't tie it at the halftime. So Pat Riley, Chuck Daly, Craig Sager, a lot coming up on the Prudential Halftime Report. Here from Chicago Stadium, the New York Knicks lead it by 2 as Chicago missed a lay-in at the buzzer that would have tied this game here at the halftime. So you've been already hearing Chuck Daly as he talked to Pat Riley, and he's joining us here and is going to be with us in the second half also. It's been a real shootout from three-point land and in a transition game, and we have nearly 120 points total between these two teams after the first half of play. So let's talk a little bit about the shootout as we look at some of the action. First of all, Michael Jordan, who Chuck Daly mentioned looked maybe a little tired, or at least was conserving some energy in the second quarter. Let's watch his three-pointer here, and what do you think about Jordan coming into the second half?
Oh, I think he's going to play at maximum effort. He does not want to go to New York and play. That was a case where he had been feeding Cartwright. They backed off, so he nailed the shot.
Well, Steve Jones, Trent Tucker has a couple of three-pointers for the Knicks. What's your analysis of the first half and this high score?
Well, I think that the Knicks realize that one of the ways that they can win the game is to make some baskets, and they all came in here feeling that if they could get their game going, that would make a dramatic difference. And the three-point field goals, the number have opened up inside opportunities at both ends of the floor, and if they can continue to shoot the ball well, then certainly that's going to make it easier for the big guys inside. This kind of game favors the New York Knicks.
Foul-wise, Cartwright has 2 fouls and had to sit out some. Oakley has 2 and set out some. Has no points and only 1 rebound in the game, Charles Oakley. Here are the halftime statistics, Steve.
Well, again, when you look at these numbers, 56% to 62%, that's pretty close to what we had in the first period. They've maintained that pace. All the rest of the numbers, with the exception of the rebounds, are fairly close. So we have got a game in which shooting and offensive play has prevailed through the first 24 minutes, and both teams will now play for that defensive stop or stretch in the ball game where somebody can get control. It looked like the Knicks were going to get it. They weren't able to do so and maintain that control of the ball game. Now, when the Chicago-New York series was here last weekend, you look at the first half scoring leaders. The Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan was 23 of 28 from the line. The Chicago Bulls had a tremendous advantage in the free throws, particularly in the game on Sunday here last week. You notice in the first half, the Knicks have the edge in free throws. The Bulls only 6 out of 8. How about officiating in terms of getting these teams to the line? What's your thinking? Well, really, it's been the kind of game with so many made shots and a lot of them coming from the perimeter that you don't have to worry about the fouls. In that game in which Jordan was getting those opportunities, he was taking the ball to the hoop. He hasn't been in that situation too many times tonight. So he's made his outside opportunities, and that's where they'd like to keep him, making field goals, but not getting to the line and making field goals.
Well, this is the place you want to be to watch pro basketball tonight. I mean, I'm telling you, this place is standing room only. When you look at the very top rafters of this building, which was built back in 1929 on West Madison Street on the west side of Chicago, it is jammed to the rafters. You see on the top row there, all the way around this arena, those people are standing, and they were standing there an hour and a half to 2 hours prior to the game when Steve pointed up there and said to me, this is going to be a big one tonight. You can tell by the SRO.
You can tell. You see how close they are. We don't know how many people are up there, but you know that Chicago Stadium is live when you get this kind of crowd. This is a great place to be involved in a basketball game, and the Bulls want to end it tonight.
If the Bulls ended tonight, it would be only the third time in their history that they would play in the conference finals. They played Milwaukee in the West in '74 and played Golden State in the West in '75. Second half underway. Knicks lead it by 2.
It'll be interesting to see if they start the ball game off by going back to Cartwright or trying to get some other people involved.
Cartwright opens with a triple, and that gives the Bulls the lead. From the mouths of the coaches at halftime, Pitino happy with the pace of the game, as is to be expected. Doug Collins not so happy, and he's concerned, Collins, about the minutes that Jordan had to play in the first half. 36 minutes. Excuse me, but obviously not 36 minutes. It was 23 minutes. Grant with a rebound to Jordan. What a pass to Grant. He doesn't get the layup. It was Ewing with the block. Wilkins misses.
Well, you got players that have missed good opportunities at both ends of the floor, and they both did the same thing. They talked to the officials. Hodges comes back fire, and he gets a two.
The Bulls up by 3. The Knicks haven't scored yet. The Bulls 5 straight points. Pitino. Watson gets a 20-second timeout. That certainly looked like a three-pointer, but Hodges got credit only for a 2. Now, Chuck Daly, this crowd definitely back in this game. You've been here as the bad guys. How big a factor right now for the Knicks?
Well, I think it's the toughest building, as I stated earlier, to play in the league. I think significantly you must pick up Craig Hodges in transition because he'll nail that 3 or close to it many, many times down the second half.
Knicks took over Chicago ball. 11 New York turnovers. Pippen to Hodges, open from 18 feet. Doesn't get this one. Ewing and Oakley collided down on the baseline, so Jackson will start it again and look for Ewing against Cartwright, who has 2 fouls.
And Jackson has to go through. That's what Ewing wanted. Jackson stays for 3.
3-point field goal. Mark
Jackson with a triple over Pippen, and it's tied at 64. Mark Jackson having himself a whale of a game. 18 points. Jordan on the penetration.
Michael Jordan.
Jordan with 19 points in the game.
And that's the
Bulls
kind
by
of
2.
effort that got Jordan to the free throw line, but the court is open, and he's able to get in there so quickly that there's no help.
Jackson thought about the 3 that time before he penetrated. Grant got the block, then the foul, or the foul, then the block, more like it. Remember, earlier this year, the Knicks had 11 three-pointers
Horace Grant,
in a
his
game.
second, team's first in the quarter.
Jackson at times has been criticized for dominating the basketball, but his dominance also makes a lot of things happen. And he is trying to take over the game right now to keep the New York Knicks in the contest, have a chance to tie the ball game up with these free throws.
You're hearing the noise that Mark Jackson is hearing. Try to amplify it by about 10 in your mind, and that's what it sounds like to Mark Jackson.
Free throw shooting so important in the playoffs.
He missed them both. So the Bulls came out and scored 5 straight points. Pitino got a timeout. Knicks came back. Now here come the Bulls. Jordan gets the ball. In a patented Jordan-esque move in the paint.
And you look at the numbers for Jordan, they're frightening tonight. He was 8 of 10 at the half. He's made his first 2 tonight. So if he was coasting, he's got a big explosion coming.
Here he comes. The feed to Pippen for Jordan on the penetration. The Bulls by 6. Still up New York. Jones and Detroit head coach Chuck Daly with us. Chuck, a critical time for New York coming up here as we look at this Jordan basket.
Oh, I think so. They don't want to get down any more than they are right now. But in the first half, this is exactly what happened. Jordan came out, dominated the game, then coasted a little bit, and New York responded and got the lead back. So it'll be interesting to see next couple of trips for New York.
The question for New York is, where do they go? They'd like to get Ewing the ball. He has been almost non-existent in any of these spurts. He's gotten a lot of scrambling points. Jackson on the penetration.
To Wilkins. Jackson with a nice move after they kicked it out. Bulls by 4. 8:20 to go in the third quarter. Wilkins, 12 points in the first half. That's his first basket of this half. And Jordan in the paint again. He draws the foul. Well, Chuck, you talked about Jordan perhaps conserving some energy for a later explosion. We're seeing at least phase 1 of the second half explosion here.
Well, he's doing something a little bit differently. They're opening the floor up a little bit different, and he's getting to the basket 3 out of the last 4 times, and that'll create foul problems and also get him baskets and allow him to dish off.
And the key to all of that is when the tongue comes out. Now, if you're the defender and you see the tongue come out, you better start calling for some help. Now, Gerald Wilkins hasn't every time he's been burned.
Jordan's first 2 free throws, only gets 1 of them. It's 71-66 Chicago. 8 minutes to go, third quarter. Jordan has 22. Newman open inside. Tough basket for the wiry Newman. He knifed his way to the backboard on that play.
At the top of this period, and it seems like the Bulls are ahead by more than they are. It's only a 3-point ball game, but the Bulls have controlled the pace of the ball game with their field goal scoring.
Jordan pulls up for the jumper. It rattles out, and the Knicks can pull to within 1 or tie it here. Wilkins kicks it back to Jackson. Cartwright rebound. That's his 3rd rebound of the game. There's the tongue, and Jordan dishes it to Pippen.
Now, he got some help that time.
And Pippen feeds it to Grant. We got a jump ball. Grant is tied up by Newman. At the conclusion of tonight's game, Steve Jones and I will select the Miller Lite player of the game. New York comes away with it. Grant with a height advantage. The toss wasn't the world's best, and the Knicks get the break. Bulls by 3.
Ewing is a frustrated player. He wants the ball. They haven't been able to get him. He's taking a tough shot against some pressure. That's what happens when a good offensive player gets left out of the mix.
Ewing banging away at Cartwright. You can see the smirk on his face. Ewing with 11 rebounds, 9 points. He has yet to score in the second half. 7 on the shot clock for Chicago, leading it by 3. Jordan with the fake toward the basket. He pulls up and shoots it over Wilkins. He has 24. Ewing with some instruction to Pitino with instructions to Ewing as he comes down.
Well, the only instructions he wants to hear is somebody's going to get me that rock at the other end of the floor, and it hasn't happened yet.
Now Wilkins drives and gets it to Ewing, who gets it back inside to Oakley and draws the foul. In the New York papers, Chuck Daly, when we were there to do this game earlier, a lot of the comments were that when the Knicks don't get the ball to Ewing immediately, they don't do a good job of reversing it and finding another way to get into an offense. What's your comment on that?
Well, first of all, I think you got to give Cartwright credit, or whoever's decided, for him to lay off a little bit early. He dances around. Then when Ewing gets the ball, he closes and makes good contact and is able to do a little bit better job and help deny the shot.
That's Oakley's first point of this basketball game. Oakley with 2 personal fouls. He set out a great deal in the second quarter. He gets them both. And the Bulls lead it by 3 with 6:12 to go third quarter.
You see, as long as that tongue is in, Jordan not thinking about scoring, you're okay. When that tongue comes out, you better call for some help. They come inside with a good pass. They get a foul against Johnny Newman.
Johnny Newman's first personal, team's second. Chicago also has 2 team fouls. Now Pippen running things out high as he gets play instructions from Doug Collins. Jordan very quiet over on the weak side. Now they get it to him. 4-3. Rebound Oakley. Again, Jackson unable to get it into Ewing. So they come down here to Oakley. It goes out of bounds. Grant may have given him a little gentle nudge there when they lobbed the ball into Oakley, but
well, the pass was a little quick and high, and Oakley wasn't really able to react. The Knicks have made 14 turnovers. That could be an item before this game is over.
Now they isolate the side for Jordan against Wilkins. 10 on the shot clock. Pippen for 3. Scottie Pippen has 15 points and 3 3-pointers. Ewing back to Wilkins. He's fouled. Looks like Pippen got him.
One of the things that Ewing has done extremely well tonight, even though he's been frustrated at the offensive end, he has been giving the ball up to cutters. So when they have gone to the hoop, he has returned it, and they've gotten some people at the basket for it. Wilkins gets to the free throw line in that situation.
So Pippen and Grant have 3 personal fouls for Chicago. Cartwright 2. Oakley has 2 fouls. Nobody on New York's team with more than 2. Chuck Daly, do the Knicks want to get this game in a faster pace right now to get it back into their style of ball?
Well, I think they'd like to, but I figured it would probably slow down like this. You know, significantly all year they've depended so much on the press, which is very, very effective. But in the playoffs like this, they've had to go so often to set offense that sometimes you can get frustrated if you're not used to doing it throughout the year.
10 on the shot clock for Chicago. Foul away from the ball.
That's against Sidney Green, trying to deny the position of Horace Grant. You could almost see this one coming. Green could have gotten around, but decided to try to body his way through, and that's when the foul was called.
Both teams with 3 team fouls now. Second foul on Sidney Green. Trying to get Hodges off a baseline screen. Pippen just went to the hoop, and he was fouled when he entered the paint. Now Chicago's starting to draw the fouls, and Sid Green picks up his 3rd, and Chicago getting an opportunity now to go to the free throw line.
Bob, one of the things that's happened in the playoffs, they put Pippen at the top of the circle handling the ball, and the people who have to play against him, like Green, have a difficulty playing him because he's so good at taking off the dribble. We're starting to see this, but we're seeing missed free throws, which again are going to be a factor in this game.
Well, as quickly as you say that, Chuck Daly, Rick Pitino agrees with you and puts in Sky Walker. So Kenny Walker comes in the game and Sid Green will go down. Brad Sellers comes in. Grant takes his seat.
Bulls lead it by 4. 4:26 to go, third quarter. Bob Neal, Steve Jones, and Detroit Pistons coach Chuck Daly with us tonight from Chicago. Pippen with 16. He's been double figures in 10 of the 11 playoff games. So Pippen really producing crunch time for Chicago this year as he's developed very quickly. Ewing once again can't get the shot off the block. Pippen. Ewing back inside to Wilkins, and he gets the ball up this time.
Ewing's done a great job of dropping that ball off. Wilkins got the first one knocked away, but they get the score.
There's Jordan beating the pressure, and it's Wilkins who commits the foul. That's his third. And the Knicks are in the penalty with 3:57 to go in the third quarter. From Chicago Stadium, this is Game 6, Eastern Conference semifinals. A Chicago win tonight would send them into the Eastern Conference Finals against Detroit. The Knicks, if they win, would take it back to New York on Sunday. Bob Neal, Steve Jones, and Detroit coach Chuck Daly with you.
Sheldon Paxson back for Chicago.
Paxson in for Hodges. Hodges has 13 points tonight and has really broken out of his slump. Hodges was shooting 30% from three-point range, which is a lot of players shoot, but only 36% overall before he entered tonight's contest. Bulls by 5.
Tucker was on fire in that first half. We'll see if they can get it back. Instead, the Knicks turn it over, and a foul off of the screen.
Offensive foul on Patrick Ewing.
It's Ewing who picks up his second foul.
Ewing is trying to find the screen and gives a little shot to Michael Jordan.
So now both Cartwright and Ewing with 2 fouls, and they're really banging each other there at the high post as Jordan drives, kicks it out here to Pippen. Actually threw it away and Pippen saved it. 10 on the shot clock. Pippen for 3. Pippen. 4 triples for Pippen tonight. He had 4 in the opening playoff game against Cleveland. That ties a Bulls record. Ewing answers with a 2-pointer.
What the Knicks got to do, they got to keep making some shots just to stay close. The Bulls have gotten control of the game with some excellent open court play, and Pippen is directing things along with Michael Jordan.
Paxson off the screen, gets inside, but there's Ewing. Sellers from the baseline. Cartwright, big rebound. Ran it into Sellers, who lost it out of bounds.
He had the shot and lost control of the ball.
Timeout, Chicago.
Chicago Bulls have a timeout, leading 82-76 with 2 minutes, 48 seconds to go, third quarter. You're looking at the lakefront in Chicago and the colorful Buckingham Fountain. Chicago's lakefront Grant Park. Inside at Chicago Stadium, it's not quite so serene and beautiful. It's noisy, it's raucous, it's wild. The Bulls lead it 82-76 with 2:48 to go in the third quarter. Bob Neal along with Steve Jones and Detroit Pistons head coach Chuck Daly. Chuck, a thumbnail assessment right here with 2:48 to go in the third.
Well, I think Chicago has been on fire in this quarter. New York, we have an expression in the league: hang around in the other guy's building and try to steal one. And I think that's exactly what New York is trying to do.
Skywalker inbounds to Rod Strickland on the floor with Patrick Ewing, Kiki Vandeweghe, and Trent Tucker.
Well, this is a play that produced a lot of good things for them in the game that they lost on Sunday. They got a good opportunity for Walker off the screen. But you see, the big item in the game tonight has been three-point shooting, and the Bulls are on fire, but the Knicks, they aren't too far behind.
Walker shooting very poorly in the playoffs. He's only 3 for 12. Jack Paxson tried to throw up a bank shot. The Bulls fortunate to get the ball back. Jordan. The Bulls tie their biggest lead of 8, and Jordan has 27. Hodges set to check back in for Chicago momentarily.
2 minutes.
Jordan has 11 in the period. He's 12 of 16. So you know that the fourth period is usually his. He's in for a huge night.
Tucker against Paxson, who knocks it out of bounds. 1 second on the shot clock. They'll reset it to 5.
You see the frustration of Ewing trying to get the ball. He tells the official, look, the guy is holding me, but what's compounding the problem is teammates are not getting him the ball. They got 5 to get it up and down. They make a quick change. Walker goes out of the ball game. Oakley comes in.
So does Jordan. 5 seconds for the Knicks to get a shot up. Vandeweghe almost stolen. Now it is. Here's Hodges. Ewing chases. The Bulls by 10.
Now this is the stretch they played for. They now have control. New York has got to answer with some positive play at the offensive end. They're going to get a foul against Paxson, but the Bulls have certainly gotten more aggressive at the defensive end. For New York, one of the things that they have to do is maintain their presence. You see Vandeweghe cannot find the ball. Hodges finally gets control of it. Ewing, in a foot race, realizes he's going to lose it. Gets a little tap at the end, but Hodges is at the basket for 2.
Ewing sits down for the final minute 26 of the period. Eddie Lee Wilkins in. Corzine also in for Cartwright for Chicago. Chuck Daly told you about Chicago's fast break game. That hold against Brad Sellers. Chuck, you talked about Chicago's fast break game, 70%. And here they are really racking them up again tonight.
Well, they love to get in the open court. They would rather do that and go in their set offense. And right now, New York is coming back with Strickland. Strickland can attack Paxson, get in the lane, and make some things happen. It's interesting. They took Ewing out. They're down 10. Brought in Eddie Lee Wilkins. It's going to be a significant couple minutes here.
Oakley with only 2 points, 2 rebounds, and only 1 field goal attempt in this game.
Johnny Newman.
Now Strickland is going to have to make some things happen. Patino shuffling players in and out for the final 1:16. Walker in the ball game. Wilkins and Vandeweghe will both go down. Newman and Walker come in. But you total up the number of points that the Knicks have scored so far in the period, and they're still under 20.
Pippen gets the rebound to Paxson with 1:11 to go in the third quarter. Tipped out of bounds by Newman with 15 on the Chicago shot clock. Chuck Daly, quickly, what about this matchup with these players on the floor?
Well, I think that they're going to try to exploit that Strickland one in particular.
Pippen trying to penetrate. Off the screen comes Paxson. 8 on the shot clock for Chicago. Pippen keeps it alive, but the shot clock's down to 1. Sellers misses. The shot would have counted. Bulls lead it by 9.
Big play by Kenny Walker to get into Scottie Pippen to create the turnover.
Now Strickland moving without the ball, being defended by Hodges. Newman gets past Pippen. His long arms knock the ball out of bounds with 10 on the clock.
Hodges denying the ball from Strickland has helped the Bulls defense.
We'll keep our eye on that matchup.
You see the difference in the bench, and the Knicks are going to have to respond in this stretch right here with some hoops.
Now Strickland has it with 6 on the shot clock. No, 17.
Rod Strickland.
Used the pick to get away from Hodges that time. Here's the pressure. Chuck, that must be why you're a coach. You seem to have a great grasp of the ball game.
I watch a lot of these games during the year.
Bulls lead it by 7. They'll have to shoot it with 7 remaining.
Pippen and Walker in a fight, right? Both of them throwing punches. They're both going to be ejected. They should be.
Pippen and Walker, as Chuck defined for you, right down in front of Chuck Daly, who's sitting at a vantage point on the end zone down there. Both of them got at least a couple of punches in.
Boy, could that be a major problem for Chicago.
There could be, when this happens, suspensions follow, as you know, Chuck. Talk a little bit about that as Doug Collins comes out here.
Well, I think Doug knows it, and he can't afford to lose Pippen if, in fact, the officials invoke the rules as they're specified. Throwing a punch is ejection.
Well, Doug Collins knows exactly what you're saying right now and is very frustrated and is aware that he might lose Pippen for a following round playoff game should the Bulls win, and might lose Pippen also should they have to go back and play at Madison Square Garden. In this game, Pippen 19 points and 4 rebounds. Kenny Walker, no points and only 1 rebound. Certainly, if that happens, and it is happening, Walker is leaving along with Pippen. The advantage goes definitely to the New York Knicks.
All right, here's the play. You'll see it off the ball left side. There's some jostling right here. They had started even before that. There's another push. There's the first punch, another punch, and they get into it. But there was some punching going on even before that. Even Darryl Garrison got hit. He's got to wear a helmet.
Darryl Garrison, supervisor of officials, the last guy you want to get your hands on.
He's having a tough night.
Yeah, he took a fall at our table earlier tonight.
Well, this is a huge item for the Chicago Bulls. Pippen had shot the ball extremely well tonight. 4 of 4 from the three-point line. He had 19 points when he left the game. They got to find someone to replace that.
5 seconds in the quarter. They kick it out to Sellers from the corner. He misses again. He's ice cold. And the buzzer sounds, and the third quarter ends with the Bulls leading it by 7. But they will be without Pippen for the fourth quarter. The Knicks will be without Skywalker. Oh, we said at the beginning of this game it wouldn't be about points and rebounds. It would be about emotion and frustration. And that's right on the money. Bob Neal, Steve Jones, and Chuck Daly with you. The Bulls lead it by 7 going into the fourth quarter. Look down to the baseline. Here's what precipitated it. The first punch thrown by Pippen, who wears number 33 against 7, Skywalker.
And Darryl Garrison came over to explain the new directive. If you swing, it's an automatic ejection. Both players put their hands in the air and let go. And you can see what it's going to cost the Chicago Bulls. Walker had yet to be a factor in the game. Pippen was playing a big factor in it, and we'll see if that hurts Chicago at all. Sellers now has to come into this dance and make his feet move.
86-79 Bulls, hoping to advance to the conference finals for only the 3rd time in their history. They advanced and lost to Milwaukee in 74, advanced and lost to Golden State in 75. Strickland with the penetration, he misses. Grant with a big rebound, out of bounds, and it's going to be Chicago ball. Let's take a look now at the Minute Maid Orange soft drink third quarter statistics.
Well, we have been talking about the shooting. It's been unbelievable throughout the course of the ball game, but the Knicks did break down just enough for the Bulls to get command. They scored 27 points to the Knicks 18, and that's the difference in the ball game. They've got to come back with some defensive pressure, make them take some tough shots.
Michael Jordan on the turnaround doesn't get it to fall. Ewing gets the rebound, and it's Sellers in for Pippen. And Sellers has not been a significant factor in this series. Doug Collins will need Sellers to play big. I don't know what he does. He walks up and down across in front of his bench trying to make a decision right now. Newman draws the foul and goes to the line, but Sellers is a defensive liability here.
Well, it's a hard push by the Knicks that gets Johnny Newman into the open court, and just good concentration to get it in. He has a chance for a three-point play, so the Knicks have been able to hang in the ball game. Sellers goes down with 4 personal fouls.
So the Bulls go small. Only Grant and Cartwright, real front court players. They're in there now with 3 guards, Paxson, Jordan, and Craig Hodges, which will help against this pressure. Bob Neal, Steve Jones, and Chuck Daly, Detroit's head coach, with you from Chicago Stadium. 86-82 Bulls, 10 on the shot clock. For Chicago with 11 minutes to go in the ball game. Illegal defense warning against the New York Knicks. Now remember, the Bulls are without Pippen, the Knicks without Skywalker. They were ejected for throwing punches moments ago.
It looks as though the New York Knicks have made a decision to up their defensive pressure, maybe pressure more without Pippen.
Jordan isolated against Wilkins. He gets double team help from Ewing. Out to Cartwright now with 7 on the shot clock. down to 5. Jordan knows that as he goes into the paint. Horace Grant loses it out of bounds. New York ball. Knicks trail it by 4.
Huge effort by Grant, though, to try to keep that ball alive. The Knicks did what they wanted. They forced a tough effort from Jordan. They now have the ball. Let's see where they're attacked. It would seem logical at this point that they would try to go inside to Patrick Ewing.
Cartwright's doing such a good job of bringing his right arm up and under between Patrick's hands.
Here comes Michael. Oakley's with him. Jordan has 29. It brought the crowd to their feet and back into this ball game. Wilkins over Grant. Jordan with the rebound. Using Bill Cartwright, Jordan hands off to Hodges for the penetration. Offensive foul, Craig Hodges. Chuck Daly, talk about the Chicago effort to replace Pippen. What will New York do to take advantage of the absence of Pippen?
Well, I think they're going to maybe pressure a little bit more, and they don't have to defend a three-point shooter. They can sag a little bit more, which will help.
9:46 to go in the game. Bulls by 6. Unless the Knicks win it, they have 9:42 left in their season. Ewing open inside, was bumped by Cartwright. So Cartwright picks up his 3rd foul, and Ewing gets a 3-point opportunity.
Well, you know, we've got Chuck Daly here, and he's been telling us about Chicago, but he remembers that his team plays the same kind of game that the Bulls played. Perhaps they played a little bit better. They like a low-scoring contest as well. Ewing finally gets a chance inside the score. Now he has a chance for a 3-point play, which would cut the lead to 3.
I think Jackson's doing a better job of finding when it's open, and it's difficult because Cartwright has been so active taking away the passing lanes.
Now Jackson has 10 assists to go with his 18 points tonight. Now Cartwright draws the double team. Jordan for 3. Ewing kept that rebound alive. Oakley came away with it to Jackson.
Now, the Knicks have to realize it's a 3-point ball game. They don't have to rush. They've got plenty of time, and all they have to do is find some places to get some good offensive rhythm, looking for Ewing.
Jordan with the near steal caused Ewing to travel. Chicago ball. And that's the 19th Knicks turnover.
In that situation, you cannot be so obvious that you let a guy who is cat quick like Jordan come in and throw your rhythm off.
Bulls by 3. 8:50 remaining in the game. Paxson looking to Jordan, posted up down there against Wilkins. Now the shot clock down to 7 for Cartwright. Spins inside of Ewing. Blocked by Ewing. Cartwright powers it back up for the reverse. Blocked by Jordan.
He is so phenomenal off the ball.
New York timeout. Our accurate leaders, and appropriately Michael Jordan on the NBA All-Defensive team. He has 3 blocks in this game tonight. And Michael Jordan obviously is playing great away from the ball. When you see there, you see that his head was up around the rim. And Chuck Daly, you noticed on that starting 5 that 2 of those players played for you. Chuck's down at the other end of the court here. Chuck, what about your defensive players, Dumars and Rodman?
Well, it'll help make you a great defensive coach, but frankly, it's hard work. You've got to have some talent. The thing I liked best about it was the fact that the coaches voted it.
Oakley from the perimeter.
Charles Oakley.
That's only his 2nd field goal attempt in this ball game.
That's the shot you want him taking. That's a huge hoop for the Knicks to stay in the ball game.
The Bulls with 3 guards since Pippen was ejected for fighting with Skywalker. With 8 on the shot clock, Jordan.
The defensive pressure is increased, but in a game like this, and Jordan shooting the ball so well, if they can find him, he can make the difference in the game. Bulls by 5.
Jordan with 32 points. He's 14 of 20. Has 7 assists. Ewing left alone down on the baseline, and Jackson got him the ball.
If you see the same defensive pressure again, and Jordan is off the ball, they'll hit Cartwright high, and he'll go back door. He's handling the ball in this case.
Paxson comes off the screen, gives it down in low for the pick and roll, but Cartwright is held by Jackson. His second personal.
Whether Jackson likes the call or not, it certainly was a good foul because Cartwright was on the way to the hoop uncontested. John Paxson with a good pass inside to give Cartwright a chance.
Knicks on a 12-6 run the last 6 minutes of this game. Another foul. That'll be the 3rd team foul against New York with 7:18 to go. The Bulls have 2 team fouls, and Wilkins just picked up his 4th personal foul.
In all of the situations where they have had to control the tempo of the ball game at the end, and they have given Jordan that kind of movement with the ball, he has made the difference in the game. They come right back to it.
Remember, Wilkins with 4.
I think significantly, if Jordan can keep getting to the basket, he's going to get him in the penalty, which will really help him down the stretch.
Jordan using Cartwright. Tried to dump it into Cartwright, who wasn't ready for it, and Oakley comes away with the ball. Now Wilkins. That pass was broken up by Jordan.
It was broken up, but Oakley made a huge effort to come in and make a play. He saved it, and the Knicks get it back. 16 on the shot clock.
So Scottie Pippen, who was ejected from the game, had 4 rebounds to go with his 19 points. The Bulls obviously missing him, having to go with 3 guards, and only Grant and Cartwright up front. Ewing. Missed the layup. Cartwright rebound.
Looked like a walk.
It looked like a jog.
He gets away with about 3 times a game.
Bulls by 3. 6:33 remaining in the game. Hodges penetrates on Newman. Newman with the reach-in foul. For Newman, that'll be only his 2nd, but now 4 Knick team fouls.
Johnny Newman, his 2nd.
With a player like Hodges who doesn't look for penetration, you don't want to gamble. A gamble then puts you 1 step closer to jeopardy with the penalty situation. Sid Green comes in the ball game.
I think I'd like to get it in Michael's hand and try to draw a foul and get into the penalty right now.
You see Pitino talking to his team, barking instructions. When they play defense in games 1 through 4 over by Pitino, they play better because he gives them instructions. They've had more stops in that area of the floor. Shot clock down to 7. Jackson with a foul. That puts them over the limit.
The foul on Mark Jackson is
6:08 to go in the game. There's the Pitino factor, Steve.
You can see that when they're playing away from Pitino, they don't take instruction nearly as well as they do when they're closer to it.
I don't know in this building if you can hear any instruction.
Grant at the line. It's 4-point Bulls lead. Grant is only 1 out of 4 from the floor tonight. Has 5 points, 6 rebounds, however. Chuck, usually a team ends up going to would like to go to a basket near their bench. Is that for the coach's benefit, to coaches, guys?
Yeah, I think the second half you'd like to have them coming to you offensively because you get in situations, particularly on the road, you can make calls and try to help your point guard get yourself some good shots.
Sidney Green in for New York, looking for somebody to pass it to. Look at that Bulls defense.
They were looking for Ewing, and the Bulls have really gotten aggressive on the ball. So now they've got to do a better job of getting the ball inside much quicker. Taking a little bit too much time to get into their set.
Knicks have 8 on the shot clock. Hodges defending Wilkins. Mismatch inside. Wilkins takes it to the hoop. Jordan blocked it. Johnny Newman stayed with it and got the hoop for the Knicks, however. And Newman has 16 points. He has 5 in this quarter. Bulls continue to lead it by 3. What a ball game from Chicago. Paxson used Cartwright to get away from Newman and then buried the 19-footer.
They're really working the baseline. Paxton and Hodges with a two-post man. Jordan feeding at the top, trying to get in the lane if he needs to.
Remember, Pippen not in there for Chicago. He was ejected for fighting with Skywalker. There's the foul against Chicago. It's going to be on Hodges.
What you like to do against the double team is move the ball before it gets there. The Knicks allow it to happen. They're fortunate to get the foul to get a new 24. And Wilkins is in that situation. He's trying for a one-on-one, but if you're going to do it, you've got to do it much quicker than that.
Bulls lead by 5 with 5 to go in the game. Jackson drives.
Much as though they're going to try to exploit that matchup. Jackson will fake going left, but he really wants to go right 90% of the time.
How good a player is Paxson defensively as Chicago gets a timeout? Chuck, we'll let you answer that when we return. 4:57 to go in this ball game. The Bulls lead it by 5. The Bulls lead it by 5 with 4:57 remaining in this ball game. And earlier, Scottie Pippen for Chicago and Skywalker for New York were ejected for fighting, and we were talking about possible suspension and NBA rules on it, and we go right to the horse's mouth. The Vice President of Operations for the NBA, Rod Thorne, has joined us. What is the situation with that, and what might we anticipate happening with those two players, Rod? What is the rule?
Well, Bob, the commissioner sent a telex around before the playoffs started that any player throwing a punch will be ejected from the basketball game. Walker and Pippen were therefore ejected. We will look at the tape. We will interview the players, and we will go from there as far as what will happen further. But they were automatically ejected. When you throw punches, you are automatically ejected.
Is there any automatic rule about suspension?
There is no automatic rule about suspensions. We have a process. Our security department interviews the participants. They also interview the referees involved in the game, and then we go from there.
Rod Thorne, thanks for explaining that to us. We'd like to invite you to all our telecasts so you can explain the complicated rulings on things such as that.
Got a great game going, Bob.
Thank you. Rod Thorne, Vice President of Operations for the NBA, on the explanation of what will happen. So no automatic suspensions, automatic ejection for Pippen and Skywalker. They're in the locker room right now. Bulls by 3 with 4:44 remaining in this ball game. Jordan had no place to go with it. Got it to Grant. Yeah, Chuck, that ruling, depending on how it goes, could help or hinder the Pistons. But you probably worry about you and not the other guys, right?
Yeah, we've had our share of suspensions after throwing punches.
You do know about it.
Yeah,
so you know it can happen.
Yeah, I'm aware.
6 on the shot clock. Wilkins for 3. Big rebound for Jordan. The Bulls lead it by 5.
Well, actually, Rod Thorne would rather be known for the guy that drafted Michael Jordan than the guy that's making all the rules.
Paxson for 3. That would have brought the house down. But if a frog had wings, he could fly. Chicago 8 of 14 from three-point land. Newman on that drive doesn't get it to fall. The foul is on Jordan, only his second. Now Tucker and Oakley into the game for Green and Wilkins for New York.
With the substitution of Wilkins, he gets a quick breather. They get a little bit truer player from the perimeter. Wilkins' shot from the outside is not nearly as consistent as Trent Tucker.
Newman's first free throw miss. He's 4 out of 5 from the line.
Right now, Jordan seems to be at his best. Off the ball, he's catching the ball, getting in the air, looking for a shot, but he's really finding the open man.
And Jordan directing action on the floor to calling up Paxson to bring the ball across, as Jordan, like Jim Brown used to with the Cleveland Browns, gets a little rest before the explosion.
Grant butts hard to the basket and caught by Fonzie.
And it'll be a three-point opportunity as Trent Tucker committed the foul. That got this place rocking again.
Chicago all night has really capitalized off the double team.
And you see what happened with the double team. They moved the ball before Oakley was able to get there. Grant with a great decision to go to the basket, gets a three-point play.
And Grant has 11, 7 in this critical fourth quarter, and the Bulls lead it by 7 with 3:27 remaining. Chicago, if they hold the lead, 3:27 away from advancing to play the Pistons. The foul against Chicago.
Both teams are in the penalty, but you can see the effect of the game and the fact that the Knicks are playing from the rear and what it's doing. Their passing is becoming very tentative. They're not moving quite as quickly as they were with the ball. And out on the floor, the decision-making has become a problem for them.
Patrick really looked frustrated on that play. Looked like he had a shot. In the other games, looks like he'd have gone to the basket, but he's looking to pass.
Oakley misses the free throw. And Chuck Daly, Patrick Ewing has 16 points in the game, 7 in this half. Been frustrated by Cartwright, who has 14 points in the game.
I think you got to credit the Bulls defense primarily, along with Cartwright in particular.
3:20 to go. Bulls 101, Knicks 95.
Watch Jordan try to get to the basket, draw the foul.
The block by Ewing. Oakley throws it back in, and look at the action by Jackson. Back to Wilkins for the Knicks to save it. A big, big Knicks play. Tucker goes for 3. And he misses it. He stepped out of bounds.
They said he traveled. Whatever it turns out to be, it's a critical turnover with 2:50 left in the game. The Knicks go to wall-to-wall pressure.
Exactly. Tucker was over in the corner, and the call is for traveling. But look at that, the pressure and the steal. Jackson in the paint. And the foul from Jordan. Clock down to 2:43.
Foul on Michael Jordan, his 3rd penalty.
It doesn't get any more intense than this. Chuck Daly, you watch those coaches on the sideline. What you're thinking about the coaches and the tension that they're going through.
Well, I did this about 2 weeks ago. Watched Mike Fratello and Del Harris. I said, what am I doing in this profession? Only for money, I guess. No, frankly, it's an emotional high. There's nothing quite like the playoffs in the NBA.
Jackson with the free throw. The Knicks now within 5.
Right now, both coaches searching their minds to what can I do to help this club win.
Bulls by 4, 2:43 to go. Remember, Chicago without Pippen, New York without Walker. They were ejected from fighting.
This is how they've always beat the press under big situations. Get the ball to Jordan. He's going to try to work it and find somebody that's open. Grant at the basket.
Look at that. Wilkins with the steal after the pass. Here comes Jackson. He lost his footing. Got it to Wilkins. What a play by Mark Jackson. It's the Bulls by 2. Collins gets timeout. We have 2:24 to go in this ball game. The Knicks refuse to die.
You know what's significant here? The fact that Scottie Pippen is not here.
Tonight's Polaroid Picture Perfect Play brought to you by Polaroid. Before it's a memory, it's a Polaroid.
Well, Mark Jackson has always been a player that has come to play in big games. And you see he's on the floor and he's clawing and scratching to make sure that his team gets back in the game, saves the play, and that's as pretty as it gets for Rick Pitino.
Chicago with a 3-guard offense. Minus Pippen. Jordan throws it away. Jordan with only 2 field goals this quarter. 2 minutes remaining in the game. The Knicks can tie or take the lead. Ewing in there where he likes to work. His foul is going to be on Cartwright. And Ewing will go to the free throw line. And Chuck, the absence of Scottie Pippen seems to be giving Chicago even more problems than we perhaps anticipated.
Well, I think Jordan can advance the ball against the press, but he's got to throw it to someone. And I thought Pippen, when he got it to Pippen against the press, when Pippen was available, was able to handle the ball, reset the offense, maybe even get a shot for Jordan.
Ewing's 13 rebounds, his rebounding high for this series. Ewing ties it at 101 with 1:59 to go. Jordan with only 2 field goals this quarter. Despite that, he does have 32 points. Now Paxson against Jackson into Cartwright, working against Ewing. Now he turns to face the basket. Goes to the left hand.
We talked about it earlier, his ability to take him off the dribble and then get back in left side, but a great shot.
Inside to Ewing. Nice pass from Wilkins on the wing. It's tied at 103. 1:25 to go in the game.
Wilkins has lost his shoe. And he had the foul to get the game stopped.
Chuck, we've placed you in a great vantage point down there on the Chicago offensive baseline. You were there to give us the Don Dumphy play-by-play of the fight, and now the good call on the lost shoe and the fact that it's hit Jordan to the line. So nice placement. Better view than from the bench. How's it look from the end zone, by the way?
Not bad. In fact, it's a great seat.
Well, we talked about the matchup of the centers tonight, Steve.
Well, they both have played big at the right time. You've seen Ewing come to the dance here at the end with a couple of big hoops and free throws. Cartwright with a good move with the left hand, so they've basically neutralized each other. Jordan puts the Bulls back on top.
By 2 with 1:16 remaining.
Jordan against Jackson.
10 on the shot clock. Now the double team. Ewing missing. Rebound Grant. Under a minute to go in the ball game. Doug Collins is a bundle of nerves over on the sideline. So is Patino. You see him right in the center of your screen. 10 on the shot clock. It's in the hands of Jordan.
This is the guy you want to force him to give it up. You don't want him to get a wide open chance.
Big bucket. Paxson for 2. The Bulls by 4. 40 seconds in the game. Timeout. New York. Well, coming up after our telecast tonight, we'll have Inside the NBA with Fred Hickman, and on Tuesday, a big doubleheader. The winner of this game versus Chuck Daly's Detroit Pistons, followed by Phoenix and LA Game 2. Chuck Daly, you be the coach. In a thumbnail, New York, then Chicago. What are they doing now?
Well, the Knicks probably will take it to half court. They'll try to get a quick 2. They might even go for a 3 if they get the good opportunity, because they got so many three-point shooters. Chicago's got to play great defense, not give an easy opening on this play. Make him play seconds off the clock. Try to get a stop. All 5 guys got a rebound.
There's the three-point shooting for the Knicks.
How they line up will tell us. They have got Tucker, Wilkins, Jackson, all capable of knocking down threes, with Oakley and Ewing in the ball game. And as you heard Chuck Daly say, what the Bulls want to do on this defensive effort is make them use some time and not give them anything cheaply. New York has got to go right away, and they're taking their time getting into it.
Hodges against Wilkins, spinning in. Wilkins misses the layup. Then he steps back in for the rebound, misses it again, but draws the foul with 26 seconds to go in the game.
Not a bad foul. They've got to go to the line and make 2.
It's on Cartwright. That's his 5th. And that will send Wilkins to the line.
Wilkins went on his own, and he exploded to the hoop, and that last explosion threw him off just a little bit, but he had enough presence of mind to stay after it, and he's on the line.
Wilkins has 20. He's 2 for 2 from the line. It's like the air being let out of a balloon. Here comes the noise again. Wilkins gets them both. That's the needle in the balloon, and Chicago gets the timeout. Leading by 2, 26 seconds. So Chicago will have to shoot it with at least 2 or 3 seconds remaining on the clock. Talk about these Chicago fans. They haven't seen their Bulls filled with this potential since the middle 70s.
You see prayer, it's not answered, but these people are into this ball game, and it's a tight situation for Chicago now. They want to come back and use as much of the clock as they can. There's a 2-second differential between the game clock and the shot clock, so New York knows at least the ball will go in the air. If you're the Knicks, you want that ball to come up quicker to give yourself 2 opportunities to tie should they miss.
There's Cartwright and Grant. Chuck Daly now Chicago at 26 seconds. If you're coaching your team, what do you say here? 2-point lead, 26 left.
Well, you've got to get the ball. You've got to have some way to get the ball in, obviously, and then you've got to get it in Jordan's hands. But I think what the Knicks will do will trap Jordan. They're not adverse to sending a double team right away and rotating, trying to pick off the ball and make a steal. But I think Chicago has to deploy in such a way that Jordan has somewhere to go with the ball to make sure they get a good shot out of this possession.
Now, Chicago is 8 out of 14 on their 3-point shooting tonight, in case they want that. But I wouldn't think that would be a factor at all, Steve Jones,
they're not thinking about shooting the basketball as much as they're thinking about letting the air out of the basketball. They want to finish the game. They have the lead. They have possession. They have the series right now. And they want to make sure that they take as much time off of this clock as they can. And as Chuck said, the critical part for them will be getting the ball in play.
Well, that's what we're about to see. You see Mark Jackson and his New York teammates. They send Ewing, Trent Tucker, Oakley, Wilkins, and Jackson. For Chicago, 3 guards, Hodges, Paxson, Jordan, to go with Grant and Cartwright. It's down to this 26 seconds.
Here's where the officials earn their money. Jordan may try to get to the basket and draw a foul. It'll be decision time for the officials.
Oakley, excellent windmiller right in front of the inbound passer. That'll be Grant. Into Jordan. Jordan fouled by Wilkins. 23 seconds remaining in the game. Wilkins is fouled out.
It almost looked as if that were intentional, that grab.
He did. He went for him real quick, and I think their idea was they didn't want him to get anything where he could get a chance to go to the hoop and shoot it. And maybe they're hoping that they'll come out with a 1 of 2 situation from the line with Jordan.
Jordan 6 out of 7 from the line. Now the Bulls by 3. This is a very big one here, Chuck Daly. The 4-point lead.
Even as rare as is, a lot of pressure.
Timeout, New York. Chicago 109, New York 105. 23 seconds remaining in what is a whale of a game at Chicago Stadium. As you see on the faces of the players on the New York bench, unless they can outscore Chicago by 5 points in this final 23 seconds, the season will be over for the Knickerbockers.
A lot of things can happen in 23 seconds, but you know the one thing the Bulls are thinking about is possession of the basketball and hanging on to it. The Knicks have to take the first opportunity that they can get. They're a 3-point shooting team. They may look to do that, but if they give them a chance to go for 2, they've got to take it, and then a hope to come back and make a play and a steal on the ball and foul if they don't do it very quickly.
The Knicks have 1 full timeout, no 20s. Chicago 1 full and 1 20. 23 seconds to go. Trying to get it into Newman. 20 seconds in the game. No shot clock. It's off.
They're looking for a 3-pointer. Now they come to Ewing.
Against Cartwright. Ewing gets the 2 with 13 seconds, and here's the pressure. Chicago without Pippen. He was ejected for fighting. Jordan is fouled by Ewing. 9 seconds remaining, and once again, they call this the city with the broad shoulders. Let's call this the player with the broad shoulders. He has this city on his shoulders right now. Talk about pressure.
Well, it's not the same kind of pressure knowing you got a cushion of 2, and he's a good enough free thrower where he should come out of this at least with one of the 2.
There's the one. Chicago by 3, 9 seconds to go in the game. Not much tension on the Bulls bench. They aren't moving. He gets them both. Nothing but net. Timeout, New York. New York is now out of timeout. So Chuck Daly, the Knicks trail it by 4 with only 9 seconds. Strategy call, please.
Well, they've got to get a good shot as quickly as possible, and a quick one. I think they've got to go for 3 at this point. I don't think they can fool around trying to get 2. They'll settle for 2 and then probably try to foul. At that point, Chicago will probably have to take a timeout, bring it to half court so they don't lose it in the backcourt.
The Bulls have a full timeout and a 20-second timeout remaining, and that could be significant, Steve.
Well, it's significant because, again, they have the lead, and everything is working in their favor. Possession is all they want in the basketball game. They'd be willing to give up the 2-point field goal or even a 3 to get the ball back to run out the clock. They know that New York has to stop the clock, and the only way they can do it is to foul. And whose hands are they going to put the ball in? Michael Jordan, if they can all make it possible.
Michael Jordan with 38 points, 11 in this 4th quarter. He had 10 in the 3rd quarter.
And the key to the game for Chicago was that 3rd period when they were able to get that break. And they outscored them 27-18. And even though the Knicks were able to tie, they never got control of the ball game. And they were able to play a game in which Jordan could control things down the stretch with his shot clock and his great offensive ability working for him.
Patrick Ewing with 22 points in this basketball game tonight, go with his 13 rebounds. But there's been a standoff of sorts because Cartwright has played big in significant moments.
I guarantee you Doug Collins told every player, do not foul, do not foul.
In this situation, you give them the 3-point field goal, you just make them shoot it deeper out on the floor.
They'll inbound from half court. Oakley will inbound. Grant will windmill right in front of our broadcast table.
He's given that gap down to the corner, which 3-point shots sometimes occur from.
Into Ewing. Tucker for 3. And he's fouled. It could be a 4-point play. Hodges bumped Tucker. He hit the triple, will go to the line, and would tie it with the free throw with 6 seconds remaining.
And as I just said, you give them the 3-pointer, but you don't foul. And the biggest sin of all has been committed right now, as we'll give you another opportunity to see what Trent Tucker saw when he got the ball in the air from Ewing.
You saw that Hodges bumped off Ewing and Tucker. It's tied with 6 seconds left. Doug Collins cannot believe it. Chuck, you talked about what Doug Collins told his players.
I've said it 100 times. You cannot foul in that kind of situation. Another thing that I saw on the inbounds, the man playing the inbound play, I think it was Grant, gave the gap. He jumped to the outside rather than stopping the passing lane direct. He should have tried to force the ball more out toward halftime.
The Knicks just came back from the dead. That's all there is to it. This is an out-of-body experience.
Well, it all came out of Doug Collins' mouth. You saw it, and now the Knicks have at least a chance to extend the ball game. Possession belongs to the Chicago Bulls. You know they're going to be looking for one guy. You got 6 seconds. You want to give yourself 2 chances to close it out before you see an overtime. You want to get at least a shot in the air.
That was Trent Tucker's first field goal attempt in the second half of this ball game.
If I'm not mistaken, Cartwright has 5 fouls. Very significant if this thing goes to an overtime.
Excellent point. Remember, Pippen was ejected for fighting along with Skywalker. The Bulls have had to go with a 3-guard offense and only Grant and Cartwright. and have obviously been in trouble bringing the ball up against the New York press without Pippen, an excellent open court ball handler, and of course a big guy also. And for the New York Knicks, the foul situation, Wilkins has already fouled out. Nobody else has any more than 3. Ewing with 3, Jackson with 3. Chicago has Paxson with 4, Sellers with 4, Cartwright 5, and Grant with 4, in case we go to overtime.
Right now, the Chicago coach has got to be pumping up their guys because they've got to be a little deflated. See, Grant jumped to the outside, came directly to Ewing. He's looking for someplace to go. Bang, one-step shot, foul.
All right, Paxson will inbound. Oakley will come over here and stand in his face as Oakley negotiates for space with the official. 6 seconds remain. Jordan has it. Into the paint. He's fouled on the shot. With 4 seconds left, Jordan will go to the line for 2. That took only 2 seconds. Remember, New York's Knicks are out of timeouts.
4 seconds is plenty of time to advance the basketball. For the Bulls, they've got to get a score here.
Strickland coming into the ballgame for New York. That'll help advance the basketball. Jordan with 38 points. He is 9 out of 10 from the line. Everybody will hold their breath on these.
If I were an NBA player still in the playoffs, I'd be spending a lot of time on my free throws.
Chicago by 1.
Strickland for Oakley.
Patino having to do his timeout in between free throw shots because he has no timeout.
Renee, there's only one thing. Get a basket. Get it any way you can get it with 4 seconds left. The Bulls don't want to have the same problem and foul.
Jordan gets them both. Newman's wide open. Missed at the buzzer. The Bulls advance to the Eastern Conference Finals against the Detroit Pistons for only the 3rd time in franchise history. The last time they lost in 4 games to 3 to Golden State in 1975. So Chicago is rocking, and the Bulls have eliminated the Knicks 4 games to 2. Bob Neal, Steve Jones, and Chuck Daly in Chicago. We'll be back in a moment.
Unofficial scoring.
Everybody savoring this moment, not wanting to leave the arena. The Knicks had an opportunity to not only tie it but win it. Jordan hits the free throw, and the Knicks find the open court, and Johnny Newman, number 4, see him going down on the left corner of your screen, gets the ball from Strickland. Nobody's near him. This would have won the game. It's a 3-point attempt. He misses off the glass. Doug Collins, Chicago Bulls, and 20,000 fans in the stadium erupt in a joyous celebration. Tonight's Miller Lite Player of the Game, as he has been so many times, Michael Jordan. 40 points, 10 assists, 5 rebounds, 14 of 22 from the field, and he hit all the critical free throws at the end of the ball game. And now Steve Jones is with Chicago Bulls head coach Doug Collins.
Well, it's an emotional Doug Collins, and I mean, this was an emotional game for you. There was a lot of ebb and flow. You're a little shaky, but you feel better that you won.
Well, Steve, you know, we made a dumb play at the end of the game. The last thing I told our guys going out was no fouls. And to give up a 4-point play that should never happen. And fortunately, we were able to win the game, but that should never happen. It's the last orders I gave our guys going out is no touch fouls.
Well, you know, in the emotion of the game, sometimes players get caught up in it. I know you're soaking wet. You got wrung out in it, but now you can look ahead. What about the Detroit Pistons?
Well, they're the best team in basketball right now. Nobody's been able to beat them in the playoffs. And, you know, Steve, when we started out this year, we said we wanted to take the next step. And we traded for Bill Cartwright. That was our goal. Bill has been under siege all season long. I think you saw it today why we got him. We got here because of Bill in the playoffs. I'm just happy for him, Michael Jordan, and the guys, because they deserve it, and his crowd deserves it. I think you saw one of the greatest games you could ever see in this kind of situation.
Yeah, it was a great game, a great crowd. Now look at that monitor, and you do a little bit of this, and you can tell us what was happening right there in your mind.
That was my son, Chris, and I just told him I loved him more than anything in this whole wide world, Steve. That's what it's all about, you know.
Well, it was a great game, and I know that you're happy about the win, and best of luck to you against the Detroit Pistons.
Thanks, Steve. And Chuck, I see you sitting over there. I know you've had a lot of rest. We're 0-6 against you. Go the hell out of here, all right?
You've got instructions, Chuck Daly.
I got the instructions.
Doug Collins with the comments. He wants Chuck Daly to get out of here. Chuck, I know you're going to do that to prepare for this team. First of all, your comments on that final two plays. First of all, the foul, and then the Newman wide open missing the three.
Well, on the inbounds play, it's so difficult to keep Jordan from getting the ball. I'm not sure it can be done. And once he gets the ball, I was sure he's going to try to get to the basket. And I indicated that the officials would have a tough call. They made the call. He made the 2 free throws. And then without a timeout, they advanced the ball and really got a shot to win the game, which is kind of amazing because when they are shooting the foul, the Bulls, they've got to think about matching up, but they let a guy get open in transition.
Doug Collins coming over there to you. You saw the hand of Collins reaching in to say, I'll see you in Detroit. Chuck Daly, one final question. You were dominating Chicago all season. Early, when Jordan was at the 2 guard, you stopped him. Now he's a point guard. How are you and your tremendous defensive players going to stop Michael Jordan?
Well, we had a difficult time when they moved him to the point guard. It got to the point where we were confused in the scheme that we had, and we had to play him a little bit differently. I'm concerned about it, and we don't have a lot of time to worry about it, but they don't have a lot of time to prepare for us. I think it's significant that we've got to take care of our own game and do a good job of defensing everyone and doing a good job offensively.
Thank you, Chuck. On behalf of Miller Lite, Superstation TBS proud to donate $1,000 to the Multiple Sclerosis Foundation in the name of Michael Jordan, our player of the game. For Chuck Daly, Detroit's head coach, who joined us here, thank you very much, Chuck. And for my sidekick, Steve Jones, this is Bob Neal for our entire TBS crew in Chicago. Now to Craig Sager in Atlanta.